I'm Lee. I'm a nerdy butch with a soft spot for sci-fi, superheroes, and video games.
And I'm Casey, a soft femme who lives for messy reality TV and big gay feelings. And this is From Fandom To Forever.
Fandom made us soulmates.
And now we're queering the algorithm.
Every episode, we dive into each other's favorite shows, from all things sci-fi to reality TV.
Highlighting queer characters, celebrating our favorite scenes, and sharing our butch femme journey one episode at a time.
Grab your remote and your feelings.
Because this is where love is canon.
And so are we.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to our first episode of Fandom To Forever. I'm Casey, she, her.
And I'm Lee, he, him.
And we are super excited to start this podcast together.
Yeah.
So why are we doing this, Lee?
Well, we've been talking about this for a while, really. And, the whole premise is we met through a fandom from a show called Winona Earp. And we're going to talk about that through the course of our series. But, we met because of that and fell in love, and our lives have completely changed in the last 3 years due to all of that circumstance. And so we thought we'd, sit down and chat about it. There's a lot of other unique things we have going on for us too.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And I think that part of the idea behind this podcast is to also hear other people's stories that have fallen in love or have had a relationship with other people who have met through fandoms, not just Winona Earp. I guess there are other fandoms. I'm not sure about that, but that's what I've heard.
There are a few other fandoms out there. So,
are there?
Yeah.
Well, Winona Earp is the main most important one, I think.
Correct. Yeah. and technically, obviously, we're a queer couple, but I'm sure there are plenty of other, relationships, friendships, straight people. We want to hear from anyone and everyone who has had that happen to them, because I think it's an incredibly powerful thing that happens when you have this thing that you love and you find someone else that loves it too, and then, oh, by the way, fall in love. So
yeah. And not only that, but we also have this dynamic between the two of us. You're obviously butch.
Obviously.
Obviously. And I am considered femme.
Yeah, you're femme.
Yeah. And so we are kind of like into this dynamic and know that there are other folks who have this dynamic between them as well. So that was another thing that we thought might be interesting to be bringing to the podcast. What else?
Yeah, and through the course of us getting to know each other, we discovered that we don't really have the same taste in a lot of entertainment, but you enjoy very much what I bring to the table, and I'm fascinated by the things that you bring to the table. So I got you hooked on, several shows that you wouldn't have watched without knowing me, right?
That's very true.
And I wouldn't watch as anywhere near the amount of reality TV or the documentaries, so yeah,
I think we can easily say you wouldn't have watched any.
I mean, that is possible. To be honest, I don't really watch that much, regular TV, right?
Yeah.
Or, things that are in reality realm, because I like the sci-fi. I like to be, in the make-believe. But yeah, so we thought we would, we're going to try a couple of things. So, obviously bear with us, but, recommending to each other, hey, I think you should watch this, and then hopefully have the time to go watch it. And if not, then, maybe we'll synopsize it for each other. We're still working through that. We should mention that, we don't live together, although we are in the same house at the moment, because we were able to share some living arrangements like every other week. So we are probably going to only have the podcast every other week if that frequency works for us. And so there might be some gaps in, like I can think of, The Last of Us, we just finished it last night. So, that took us a little bit longer because we like to watch it together, and we only have every other week. So that kind of,
But I don't think that's a bad thing, right?
No,
It
not
gives
at
us more
all.
experience to, or it gives us more experiences to talk about.
Yeah. And then we also thought we would share we're making it our goal to have some adventures when we do have our weeks together. We don't always go somewhere and we don't always do some, fascinating things, but when we do, we figured we'd share that too.
Hmm.
So we'll give a little bit of I don't know what the word I'm looking for. I apologize.
Mm.
I don't know if hopefully you can't hear the neighbors. They are outside right now.
Are they? Oh, I can't hear them.
Yes. Good. Okay.
No, I can't.
Okay.
The one time, there's never anybody
I
outside
know. It's
ever.
like, um, it
Maybe we
sounds
should talk about that. So Lee moved up to Appleton, where it's just a thriving metropolis. It's so exciting to live here, and it took so much like I just had to beg and beg and beg for Lee to move up here, which is untrue. I did not.
that is.
All of a sudden, Lee's here.
Yeah.
And living in an apartment, this awesome apartment on the river,
Yeah.
it was perfect. Like
Beautiful.
river noises all day and all night.
Yep.
Well, that the apartment was small and you couldn't move around much, and there was just one bedroom, one bath. So Lee decided to take the jump and actually buy a condo in
Hmm.
Appleton,
Hmm.
and now is a Wisconsin citizen? No,
Yeah. Yeah.
citizen is that what it's called?
I'm an official
Resident, a
Wisconsinite.
resident,
Yep.
citizen.
So So we're kind of jumping. I mean, we're assuming that people know who we are, and hopefully, we've got some friends out there that do know who we are. But I was when Casey and I met, I was living in Ohio, and Casey lives here in Wisconsin. So it wasn't just a move from one town to another. It was,
No, it
pack
was a
up
big
and
move.
sell my house and move, 600 miles north,
Hmm.
basically. So it's been a big endeavor and a big change. Hmm.
Adjustment.
Yeah,
Huge adjustment for
yeah,
Lee,
yeah.
but he's doing very well, and now lives in this
It's
condo
yeah.
where it's like quiet as all get out all the time. And of course, the one day that we decide to record, there are people in the back. I mean, Lee is easily the youngest person in this condo
Yeah.
complex.
And I'm
And
60.
uh, yes, and you're 60.
Yeah.
There are neighbors, Elizabeth and Gary, next door, who will probably come up in conversation
A lot.
often
Yeah.
that we see on a regular basis. And then the other side, Paul, nowhere to be
We
found.
haven't,
We
yeah,
haven't seen Paul. We think he's in Florida or
dead.
deceased inside of his condo. We'll keep you updated.
Yes, yes, we will.
Anyway, with that,
Yeah.
I have been trying to do little things with Lee to make him more comfortable being in Wisconsin because it
Mhm.
was a big adjustment to take off that Ohio license plate, put on a Wisconsin license plate, and get rid of the Ohio driver's license for the Wisconsin driver's license.
Yep.
Traumatizing, oh, maybe a little bit traumatizing.
Yeah. I mean, I lived in Ohio for 30 plus years.
Hmm.
40, closer to 40 years. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're old. And
Oh,
then,
true. True story.
so I think we should talk about our little adventure this past
Yeah.
weekend.
Yeah, let's.
So,
So you go ahead.
well, I was just going to say, so I decided to put together a little adventure, which backfired a tiny bit. Um, we were going to go down to Milwaukee and spend the weekend and just kind of bop around to different things that I've never done. So we started with the Pabst Mansion, which is a huge mansion, like kind of close to downtown Milwaukee, right outside of the Marquette University campus. Pull up, it's completely under construction.
Can't even see the facade
Can't even
at
see
all.
it. Not one bit.
What is this?
Yeah. So it's covered by tarps and all of that. What is that stuff called?
Scaffolding.
Scaffolding. Yeah.
Yeah. Workers all over the
Yeah.
place.
Bricks falling.
Mhm.
So we get into the tour and we're led around by this docent named Barb, wasn't it
Barb.
Barb?
It was
Yeah.
Barb.
She's been doing this for about 492 years.
Or
She
or
was,
14, I mean.
yeah, whichever. She just obviously wanted to be down in Florida at her condo. There's
Clearly,
no doubt
yes.
about it. She was ready to go back.
Yeah.
So, she led us around. The home was beautiful. The history behind the home was amazing. Then, like an idiot, I asked Barb, is there ever, has anybody ever had any experiences with spirits or hauntings? And she was, oh my God,
She almost threw you
offended.
out.
Yeah,
Like she's like, get out.
she was
Don't ask.
offended. She whipped her head around. No, like that. There, everybody here was loved to be here. Everybody wanted to be. This was a loving, generous family. Like, just went on, and I was like, dude,
How
Barb,
dare you?
chill. Right? It was. It was.
It
It's like,
was.
how dare you?
Yeah.
And then it got worse because at the end of the tour, another lady asked.
'Cause she didn't hear you ask.
Yeah, she
'Cause
didn't
she
hear
was in
me
the
ask.
bathroom.
Right. So she asked, is this place haunted? And Barb had the same visceral reaction. And the lady was like, oh my gosh, okay, sorry. But I'm thinking they would get way more tourists if it was.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And I mean, I don't think I believe Barb. I mean, there's got to
I
be
don't believe
something
Barb
there.
either.
Yeah,
Right. Who cares if people wanted to be there? That makes it doesn't matter. They can still, it's not a bad thing to, it's
correct.
like not like they're ghosts just like pushing people downstairs and stuff. That's not what I'm asking. I was asking if there was just anybody who had any experiences like hearing noises or whatever. I mean, Mrs. Pabst had 10 kids. Only five of them lived. There are spirits around there.
Yeah, there have to be. Yeah,
There have to be.
yeah. Plus,
There has to
the
be.
all the priests that live there too is
Oh yeah,
probably,
that's right. The archbishop, the
archdiocese.
archdiocese.
Yeah,
Yeah, because it's so close to Marquette University. I know this
yeah.
is all so fascinating for listeners.
The
The three listeners that we
three
might
listeners.
probably will have the whole time. But they lived there forever too. So you can't tell me that there is nobody. There are people
Yeah,
there just
had to be.
wandering around. There has to be. Give me
Yeah,
a break, Barb.
yeah,
She liked to she liked to just tell her own stories, I think.
yeah, yeah.
Barb needs to retire.
She does. She needs to move on.
Yeah. Maybe her haunt the place. Then what
Should
do we
be
do?
should be too nice. Well then we took the adventure down to downtown Milwaukee and we went to a place called the Safe House, which was recommended by your friend, I believe.
Yeah.
Did you already know about it? Okay,
Well, no, I already knew about it,
about
but
it. Yeah.
I said to Amy, who is like the tourist guide of all tourist
Yeah.
guides, like she could put together an itinerary anywhere you go. She goes, for sure you have to go to the safe house.
Okay. Yeah, so it was, I already Casey let me in on that it was sort of it's a bar and a restaurant, but it's also a place where they, give you a mission or whatever. It was like almost like an escape room, but not really, if that makes any
Yeah.
sense. I'm not sure how to describe the experience that they were planning to or they intended for us to have. Um,
Right. It's like a safe house meaning like with spies and
The
stuff,
spies,
right?
yeah. So you need a
Yeah, yeah.
password to get in, and you need to know the code or whatever. And
Hmm.
Casey was extremely disappointed that there was no one at the door, and that she pushed a buzzer and they opened the door. She's like, "What is this?" And
Yeah.
it was light outside, so my glasses had turned, and I could not see once we opened the door. It was pitch black in there, so I'm like feeling around for for Casey to like help me.
Yeah,
So
you
I
kept
missed it
saying,
all.
I can't see.
I
And I'm
can't
like,
see.
anyway, I just But yeah, so that was like a big thing. You're supposed to
Yeah.
go into the safe house and there's somebody there and you're supposed to know the password. And if you
Mm,
don't know the password, they tell you to do like a funny thing, like you have to do the chicken dance or you have to do whatever.
mm.
And the people inside the restaurant and bar already are watching everybody who comes in.
Yeah. There's a
Okay.
little closed circuit TV right
Hmm.
over the door, which my back is too. And every time someone else tries to come in, Casey's like, "Oh, look, look." And I'm like, I can't even turn around to see it. So I missed it all. That's fine.
So yeah, that's fine.
That's fine. So we get seated, and the waitress comes over and, hi, I'm Nicole, and I'm your mission. Oh, I don't even mission or something. She was talking so low, really couldn't understand her anyway. But the enthusiasm was like off the charts. I mean,
Yeah,
really,
right. It was
so
so she was totally
totally.
into her role. She's
I'm
like,
like so thrilled to be here.
"My name is Nicole. I'm your mission organizer. What can I get you to drink?" We're like, "Whoa, okay, I guess it's gonna be that situation."
I don't remember the name of my drink. It was okay,
Yeah, I
and
don't remember it either.
you
It's
had a
on that picture that we took.
yeah. Is it okay?
Hmm.
And you had your standard
Brandy old fashions.
uh which apparently, not being a Wisconsinite, but apparently that's like the state drink, and you must drink it when you're here.
Duh. You didn't know that?
I did not
That's
know
like
that.
they can't believe they didn't quiz you on that when you were getting your driver's license.
They just let anybody in, I'm telling you right now.
Jesus. Yes, that's the state drink. Brandy old fashioned, sweet or sour. You can choose.
It tastes like cough syrup, but that's
It,
okay.
oh God. Now
It's
I'm having
fine.
second thoughts about
Oh,
this.
well, it's too late for that. You We're 3 years in, babe. It's too late for that. But so
Oh,
she
this
brings
is
us the drinks, and I don't even think she was going to ask us if we wanted an appetizer. And I was like, hold on there, Nicole.
Nicole.
We would like some appetizer. So I ordered the nachos. And I don't recall what because they all had spy names,
Hmm.
but I'm really bad at like remembering that kind of stuff. So she brings us the nachos, and it's it's literally corn chips, covered in some kind of, I guess, aioli sauce or what's the avocado? I don't know. I
Oh, the
wasn't sure.
guacamole
Well, it
kind of
wasn't. It
sort
really
of.
wasn't. I mean, it didn't taste good. Let me cut to the chase.
It
It
was
was
not
probably the
good.
worst nachos I've ever had.
Yeah.
There were some black beans and some other things on it. But it just wasn't.
It
It
was
was
called
mushy.
Nachos Camp Stanley,
There you go.
but I'm not sure why.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Yeah, the guacamole you could tell was squeezed right out of a
It was
tube. The
not
beans were
good.
like this weird gray brownie. I don't know. It wasn't brown. They weren't, it
It
didn't
it
look
was
right.
not good.
It was
It
not
was
good.
very very not tasty.
Hmm.
And then she proceeds to take our order, and I like burgers, and I'm on a quest to find good burgers in Wisconsin
Oh God,
because
that's a whole nother story.
they don't even compare to Ohio
Compared to Ohio.
hamburgers. So um, I ask her, how are your burgers? And she's like, well, that's one of the things we're most famous for. I'm like, okay. Not clarifying if it was good, but I ventured in and got a burger. And you got a salad, which,
I did get a salad, which you
which,
wouldn't think that they could screw up.
how can they mess up a salad? But
Well,
we sit there for a little bit longer and things get crazy. There were
oh God.
some crazy ladies at the bar who had obviously been there for a bit and a couple of drinks in and were having a good time. They
Yeah,
were
they were.
they
They
were
were
having a
having a good
good
time.
time.
Hmm.
They were very loud, and it was very hard to have a conversation, but it's fine. It's all fine. So Nicole brings us our food, slaps it on the table, and walks away. And no, I'm kidding. She wasn't that bad, although it felt like that.
It did feel like that a little
It did
bit.
feel like that. But getting taking a couple of bites of the burger, and it's got some bacon and some other things on it. It wasn't horrible by any means. I've had way worse, but I got to an end of a bacon, and it was literally charred so black that there was no texture to it at
That was the
all.
weirdest bacon.
It
And then
was.
so there was a section that I said, "Can I just try that bacon?" And you gave it to me, and it was like a m- charcoal maple syrupy taste. I'm like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
So we just called it quits at that.
Yep. We called it quits.
And then we
And
decided to walk around to do like the mission impossible checklists that they had.
Yeah.
Apparently, this restaurant has been around for 150 years because everything was like closed or broken or you couldn't find it anymore. I'm like, okay, let's, you know what, this is we tried. We had open minds about the whole thing and we
Yes.
whatever, but we can confidently say that we won't suggest going to the safe house for anyone who is uh trying Milwaukee for the first time.
Yeah, definitely not.
Mm-mm,
Pass on that.
pass. But what did we do then? We saw the bronze
We
fawns.
did. Yeah. I didn't even know that statue existed. But yeah, we got our pictures taken in front of the bronze fawns and we walked a little along the Milwaukee River.
It was the Milwaukee River.
Okay.
Yes. Don't you dare go in it or get the water on you, but it
Oh,
is a river.
okay. So so that the there's a similar river in Cleveland that used to catch on fire quite frequently
Oh
because it
my God,
was
the
full of
river.
so yes, the river used to catch on fire because it was so full of chemicals.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they've cleaned it up since because that was decades ago. But that was a joke down there is don't go near the river when you catch on fire.
Well, and then people kayak and stuff on it, and I'm like, you couldn't catch me doing that.
Yeah,
No.
it didn't look from the surface that too threatening. I mean, I've seen
Really?
more threatening bodies of water.
Oh.
And it didn't have an odor, which is another good sign.
Yeah, that is true. I don't know why it didn't that time, but so then we decided to go back to go to the hotel, which turned out, whatever.
Yeah.
For that time being, it was fine. And we went
We,
to
we kept getting solicited by, there was some sort of convention there, and we kept getting solicited by the members of the
there.
convention. Are you with Region 5? And we're
And
like,
they were
no.
all like 92 years old and had bee
Be,
antennas
yeah.
on their head. We're like, no, we're not from Region 5.
This is going to be interesting.
Do we look as old as you? No. We got comfy and blah blah blah, and we decided, oh, let's try going to just because we were still hungry. We didn't
Yeah,
even eat.
we didn't.
So we decided to go down to Bar Louie, which I think are like is everywhere around the United States.
I've
And
never heard of it.
oh, really?
No,
Oh,
I think that's a Wisconsin thing.
it is?
It might be. I mean, it's definitely not an Ohio thing.
Oh. Um, so we sat at the bar and we actually had a really good time.
Yeah.
Had some what?
Those were the best tots I've ever had.
Loaded tots.
Loaded tots. It was amazing. We literally cleaned that dish. There was nothing left on it, but maybe
It's
one
true.
slice of jalapeno pepper, which I couldn't eat.
And then proceeded to have several drinks.
Cocktails, yeah.
Yeah, and talked, and it was actually it made up for the
The safe
safe
house.
house.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It was a very
And
nice evening.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
the rest of the weekend we went to IKEA, saw
Hmm.
some friends,
Yeah. Took a nap.
took a nap because we old.
We're so party. We're such
Yeah,
party
I
animals.
know. But it
Uh,
turned out actually to be a good weekend, don't you
yes, it
think?
was beautiful and beautiful weather, and it's just the
Yeah.
yeah, it was. I enjoyed it immensely, and I
And it
thank you so
continues this
much.
evening after we are
So
done recording.
so don't skip over the on the drive home.
Oh God.
We're cruising down the highway at 70 miles an hour, and Casey's driving because I'm old and I can't see very well, which we're gonna fix soon.
hmm
And we're just cruising, and we hear and she's like, "Oh, I think I blew a tire." So she pulls over on the side of the highway, and cars are spitting by us, and
Yeah, it's the interstate.
we're on the left
Left-hand
side,
side.
so I can't get out because she hasn't pulled over far enough for me to open my door without getting killed. So she jumps out, and here's my femme underneath the front of the van, her minivan. She's like, I'm fine, I'm fine. I'm like, Jesus Christ. So she pops up, and then she pops back down again. Then she comes back in, and there's some kind of windscreen that hangs below the minivan, and it came loose. And it was dragging on the highway at 70 miles an hour. So she gets back in. We turn the blinkers off and we, make our way to an exit, which there are 5,000 of them on this highway. And there are also 5,000 quick trips, which I also have never experienced. So a quick trip in Wisconsin is actually, it's a gas station, but it's also one of the, the convenience stores inside. So you can buy anything and everything you would ever imagine. And it's not really a truck stop, which is what I would have, classified it as, but it's way more of an experience. There are fresh donuts, fresh food,
Chicken.
chicken, and uh and duct tape. And I looked at the duct tape because that's what she sent me in there for, because I'm the pretty boy and she's still on the ground outside trying to fix this windscreen. And I'm like, I can't help you. I can't get down there. I can't see. I'll just stand here so you don't get run over. And she's like, you know what? Why don't you go in and see if we can find some duct tape or something? And so I'm standing.
Let me give you a little job here, honey bun. Go
Yes.
get some duct tape.
So I'm standing in front of all the things at the Quick Trip, all the things that you can buy. There's like, they had cable tie. They
Ratchets
had
all over
you name
everything.
it, anything. And I'm looking at. I picked up the duct tape and I went, maybe these zip ties will work. So I got zipped. I'm walking to the register with zip ties and duct tape, and the guy didn't even blink an eye. He's like,
No.
"Okay, it's $15. There you go. And see you next time," because that's what
See you
they
after you're
say.
done. See you after you're done with your whatever, kidnapping.
Yes. So here I come back out to the van, who she's still on the floor, and I'm like, "Here you go, honey." So she gets it fixed. Somehow you secured the thing. I'm like, I'm just standing there, it's handing you zip ties. I'm so useful.
I did it, and
You
it
did.
secured itself through. We got
We made
home
it. Yep.
fine,
We made it fine.
and I'm pretty sure that's how they
I,
would fix it at the gas station. I mean,
and
at
I'm
the place anyway.
I'm pretty sure it's not going to come undone again.
I don't think so. I
No,
think I
I
did
don't think
it.
so. Yeah. So that was the
That's your
highlight.
femme.
That is my film.
Hmm.
But
Self-sufficient.
we're super proud of ourselves because we didn't even fight. We don't fight. We
No.
we rarely argue at all, if any. But that could have definitely been a situation where a different kind of couple would have been
Yeah,
at,
they
at
surely
each
would
other.
have.
Um,
I think I asserted myself well enough. I was like, just let me do it.
well, I mean, I wasn't going to argue with you.
Yeah. Good.
As soon as the eyes get fixed and I can see better, then we would have had a different conversation. But
Nah, I would have done it anyway.
probably, you're probably right about that. You're definitely right about that. But
I
yeah,
forget.
the adventure continues. We're headed off this afternoon to go see her Casey's best friend down in
Elkhart Lake.
Elkhart Lake. I almost said Sheboygan. So that's the other thing that luckily I didn't have to drive this weekend and could read all the signs and try to pronounce all of the funny names of all the cities and
Hmm.
areas Wisconsin has. And Ohio has them too, and we'll get to play that game someday. But yeah, I thought that was fun, and you would get mad at me when I said something wrong. But
Because
there's a lot of vowels in some of those
you
words.
you've been living here for 2 years now. You should know how to
No.
say Winnicott.
What that no.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna make flashcards for you, and
There
I'll
you
do it
go.
on the pod and make you say the names of the
That's
or the names of the cities.
There we go. That's perfect.
Mhm.
And I'll find some Ohio ones for you to try and
Yeah.
pronounce,
So
like
you know what?
Olentangy.
No, now I know Olentangy
Yeah, you
and the
do.
Sagahaka or whatever. Sagahaki. Sagahuka. What is it?
Scioto,
Oh yeah, Scioto.
Scioto River.
I would know what it was if I saw the name. I
Yes, you
just
probably
couldn't
would.
remember the name.
Yes,
Scioto for sure. Yeah.
Scioto.
Would know it. But speaking of being a Wisconsin citizen resident now
Yes.
and quizzing you on things, I have a quiz for you.
Okay.
So, in Wisconsin, we're all about beer and brats and beer and everything. I
Yeah,
don't know if you've noticed that or not.
I kind of
And
did. Yeah,
in front of you, do you have them in front of you?
I do. I let me scooch 1 second.
Okay, so I have um two paper towels.
'Cause we're
And
fancy like that.
yeah, we fancy.
We're fancy.
And one has Pringles on them and it says number one.
Hmm.
and the second one has Pringles on it, and it says
Yep.
number two.
Yep.
And so, um, like I said, in Wisconsin, we do everything with beer. So one of the Pringles is flavored grilled beer brats, and how we
Okay.
make our brats, and they're Johnsonville brats. They're not the same brats as like probably Ohio people have.
Yeah.
Um, we parboil them in beer with onions, and then we cook them on the grill.
Okay.
So that's one flavor. And the other flavor is beer can chicken or beer butt chicken. So I don't know if you guys do this, but
No.
you,
Well,
for
they probably
real?
do. They probably do. I've not been a tailgater, so I think that would have been a tailgate thing at OSU.
It is a
Yeah.
tailgate thing?
I'm
Well,
sure that
and
would be a tailgate thing.
you get a chicken and then you put a can of beer in their butt.
Really?
You open the can of beer and
Oh,
put the chicken on top of the beer can so that when it cooks on the grill, somehow the beer flavoring goes in the chicken. I don't know
that's
exactly. I've never done that one.
interesting.
So your mission is to taste the Pringles and figure out which one is which.
Okay.
So start with number one.
All right. It smells like a Pringles, so
Okay.
um can't guess by the smell.
You just shove that all in there.
I mean, why not?
No little itty bitty tastes.
No. You got to get it all in there.
Hmm. Do you have anything
I
to cleanse your palate?
I do.
Oh, okay.
I taste chicken. That's really all
Okay.
I taste though. It's
Okay.
salty and kind of a chicken flavor.
Okay.
You want me to try the other one?
Hmm.
Let me
Make
take a
sure you
sip.
have it.
All right. Get a one that one was.
So now you're on number two.
Mhm. This one looks a little, well, they're about the same. It's a Pringles. You can't. Now this one has a different odor to it.
What do you think of that one?
Definitely not the chicken taste. It just tastes salty to me, but I
So
don't
number
taste.
one you think is chicken?
Yeah, they're good. They're
Number one is chicken.
okay.
You passed.
There you go.
Oh my gosh, good job.
All right.
You're like, that's that's good. You haven't
That's
even been
good.
a Wisconsin citizen for very long, resident for very long.
And we haven't been to any kind of like that's not a food that I would choose, like brats. Um,
Well, guess what?
typically,
We're having them when we go to Elkhart Lake.
well, I figured that. I assumed that as much because we're going to a cookout or somebody's cooking
Hmm.
out for us. I'm
Hmm.
kind of surprised we didn't have them
Oh yeah,
at your friend's house in
at Angie and
Milwaukee.
Robbins.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, I'm proud of you. Good job.
thank
I
you.
just tasted them right now, and you can't really taste it. I think they could have done a better job at making it taste like beer and
Beer,
brats.
yeah.
There's not even a yeasty taste.
I think beer is a it's a not necessarily a flavorful ingredient, and then once you cook it down or water it down, it kind of loses its pizzazz,
Yeah. Do you
for
guys
lack of a
put
better.
yeast on paper? I mean, on yeast on paper. Do you put like brewer's yeast on popcorn in Ohio?
I've not heard of that either.
Mm. Yeah, they do that here.
Hmm, interesting.
I know, I never tried it, but yeah, it's an option, like
Yeah,
especially in Milwaukee at the like Oriental and Downer theaters, they have brewer's yeast.
interesting.
It is fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fascinating.
That's all I have for you for
Okay, but
Wisconsin
this time.
games this time, yeah.
Yeah, we're obviously like I said we're feeling our way through this a little bit. So if you wanna recommend a snack or something that we could try, or somehow to quiz each other on our different states, we're open to that too. We're gonna be on the socials, and I'm in the process of trying to get us a website that you can leave us a voicemail or something on. I just we're still going through this. but we'll
Just
get
getting
there.
her feet wet.
Yeah, getting our feet wet.
Hmm.
Which kind of isn't a fair statement either, because you had, well, maybe we talk about it a little bit, but you obviously you had a podcast with your friend Anne,
My ex
um,
Anne
your ex, yeah,
and
and you
friend.
and in fact that was your second podcast with Anne because you had one before that where you guys
Yep.
just kind of yabba dabba dooed, as you like to say.
Yeah, yeah, we had etc. And then we had Why Not?
Yeah.
And Why Not was a Why Not Earp podcast. So it was about the show that we met through the fandom.
Yep.
And yeah, hopefully Anne will join us sometime. That would
Yeah,
be
that
really
would be
fun.
awesome. I would love that. And then I took a little spin with a friend, an Erper friend, with a podcast called Nerd to Nerd, and we did that for over a little over a year, um, talking about our superhero kind of nerdy things. So yeah, this isn't. It's definitely not our first rodeo, and ironically, that was the name of the
Oh
podcast that we
yeah.
wanted to use. And I started doing the research because you want to be unique, and I found it to be it was I think a Christian
Christian
woman's
mothers. Yeah.
something, yeah. And we're like, I mean, we're not anti-religion by any means, but I wouldn't say we want to be associated with a Christian mothers
They don't want people to
podcast.
get confused.
Yeah. So, but this one, I mean, I think this name suits us, from fandom to forever, and we're uh, we're happy we chose that.
For sure.
And then, the other part of this is obviously we want to talk about some of the shows and things that um, are happening and are going to happen and we've seen, and we're still trying to figure out how to watch Melanie Scrofano. If you're a nerper, you know who that is. Uh, is has a new show on Sci-Fi, which I don't pay for cable TV anymore or any kind of TV, live TV. It's all streaming. So I don't have access to that. Casey does with Peacock. And so we're going to try to figure out how to watch. The show's called Revival, and it is actually set in a town in Wisconsin. I can't remember the
Yeah.
name of the town. Yeah.
Wapan.
It's Waupun.
Or is it Wausau?
I honestly don't know.
I'll have to figure it
Um,
out.
yeah. But it's kind of the same. She's a cop, and it's something about people who come back to life. They die and they come back to life, and that's what
Hmm.
the revival part of it is. And that's really all I know about it.
Hmm.
But
I saw in
we're
one of the trailers, she said, I'm not an heir. I don't have a special gun. I'm just a cop." Like she
yeah,
was like, it's
yeah,
not anything that she's played before,
sure, but it is,
but it is.
yeah. And I think if I'm not mistaken, I think she has a sister in this show as well,
Oh, really?
and maybe the sister is one of the revival people.
Hmm.
I'm not, don't,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think you should stop talking because we really don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. Stop talking.
Shh. God.
But we want to talk about that. There are some things coming up that we would have been talking about The Last of Us, and we can for a little bit if you want. There's a huge gamer following.
Wait. Before you say anything, because you are
Oh,
known to spoil things, there will be spoilers.
thank you.
If you don't want to know anything about The Last of Us, fast forward
Yes, stop listening to us at this point.
because you have a
Thank you.
reputation.
That is, yeah. That is your job going forward, is to warn for the spoilers.
Jeez, this would be one of them.
This would be one of them. But I mean, I wasn't really gonna, but we can get into it. Uh, but
I've heard
it's
that before. Thank you
yeah,
very much. Oh,
yeah.
I'm not going to even talk about it. No, no. And then boom, wow, all the spoilers come out. I'm like, oh my God, a little warning.
Okay, consider yourself warned. But it's got a huge gamer following because it's based on a video game called The Last of Us, and it is a PlayStation exclusive game. So, and I'm an Xbox nerd. So I have played the game a little bit, and knew quite a bit about it because it's been out for a while, and you can't you can't be a gamer without seeing clips and things of other games and being interested in that, and then all of a sudden it's on your feed. So uh and I'm okay with being spoiled by those things, but they're the main character. Her name is Ellie, and the premise of this whole thing is that an infection happens. We get infected by the flour in our food, and it turns you into a zombie. And as soon as you bite someone, they get infected. So this infection grows very, very quickly. And then we follow Ellie and the other main character's name is Joel, and we follow their progress through surviving this zombie apocalypse, basically. But in the course of that, we discover that Ellie likes girls, and unfortunately has some difficult times through her life. But the main thing is that Ellie got bit and didn't turn, and so now she's the only person that can really save the rest of the world.
She's immune.
She's immune, and Joel does some things that motivate him to keep her alive. And one of them is kill the surgeon who's trying to get to the bottom of why Ellie is immune, which would have cost her her life. And we get obviously that's a quick synopsis. And again, if you haven't seen the show, I don't know that how much of that I even spoiled, because you learn all those things pretty quickly. But the dive into that relationship and how that that whole how it affects what Ellie does and how it affects what Dina does, and we
Dina
have
is her
current
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 girlfriend.
girlfriend.
Mhm.
Yeah, we really haven't even gotten to see much of their relationship. And I don't know much about the because we're in The Last of Us Part 2 now. So the season 1 of the show reflected the first game, and then there's a Last of Us Part 2 video game, which is hundreds of hours worth of gameplay. And we're in that now, and I don't know very much about that game at all. So I don't know if we get to see them more together in season 3, because there is a season 3. And hopefully a season 4. They've been talking about they don't think they can tell the whole story in 3 seasons, which is
So I have a question.
Mhm.
So this part two of the game, is there like a part three of the game and that's going to be
No.
season three, or this part two is all now the rest of the seasons?
Yeah. Part
I
part
see.
2 of the game is hundreds and hundreds of hours of gameplay. There's so much story there that they're worried that they can't get it all in. And they're
Oh, I see, I see.
yeah, and they're cutting a lot out. In video games like this one, you have side quests that you can go do that don't affect the outcome of the main story, and if you miss them, you it doesn't do anything, but it doesn't take away from any of the experience. It just
Hmm.
it's nice to do side quests.
Hmm.
And several of the scenes that we've had and storylines that we've had have been part of that side quest uh, adventure too, because the current producer and co-writer of the show loves the side quests.
Mm.
So they're really like we found out last night that season 3 is going to be Abby eccentric. Is that the right
Ex
word?
no. Abby
Abby.
Heavy.
Okay, focused on Abby.
Focused on Abby there.
Uh, and and in the game you get to play these different characters as well. So we've played Abby already in season 1, uh, or game 1, and I don't know again in game 2 if you get to play Abby again. But she's
We
a key.
played Abby in
Yeah,
season one.
yeah. They actually you actually I think you play Abby when the thing happens with Joel. I think you're Abby.
Really
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's a lot of fans that are not happy with the course of what the way they're taking things or cutting corners or not cutting corners, but changing some of the storyline.
Well, they can't
And
follow it word for they can't follow it step by step. It's
that is correct.
impossible.
You will, I mean, you already know this, but you will find that, when you have a beloved game or a beloved series and someone comes along and tries to change any of it, it's usually met with a bit of resistance, if
Yeah, I
not
can imagine.
total resistance.
Hmm.
So, but it's for me, personally, I loved what I did play of it, and I know of the actors that voice the characters in the game. I think that Pedro Pascal is an amazing Joel. I think
Mm.
he deserves some Emmys, especially that performance we saw on the porch.
Oh,
Again, I'm not really spoiling because that's in the game. So if you've played the game, you've seen it. But that was quite heart wrenching. It had an effect on you
it
right
did.
away. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I can't even explain really what happened, but the way that what he was talking about and how emotional it was, it made me want to call my kids right
yeah,
when the episode was over. I was like crying and I'm like, I need to call my kids.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
did.
So
It
that
was
was
touching.
yeah, and that theoretically that's the last conversation they had, obviously, because the next morning they go out on patrol, but he's already gone,
Hmm.
right? And then they don't see each other again until that scene.
Hmm.
But I think that they started that episode with showing us Joel and Tommy's father, and kind of explaining why they have this tendency to be violent because in the game, Joel and Tommy are very violent
Oh,
early on. Yeah, they do a lot of things they probably shouldn't be doing to people.
oh God.
And again, they cut that out so you don't if you're just watching the show and you don't know those kinds of things, we don't understand that. But that was their attempt at saying they were raised that way. So
Oh,
and to say, obviously he said to Joel, his father said to Joel, when you
do a
have kids,
little
I hope you do
better.
better. Yeah. And so she says it, he says it to Ellie.
Hmm.
So yeah, that was a nice touch, I thought.
Yes, it was.
So
I really liked it. I like the show way more than I thought I was going to. This is one of those shows I never would
yeah,
have watched
never would have
if it
watched.
weren't for you.
Yeah.
And and now I even wish there was a way for me to play the game. Like I wish that I could do that,
Yeah.
but
We
we'll see
can.
someday maybe.
I can set my PlayStation up and we can play it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that would be fun,
Yeah.
even though I love playing Fortnite with you.
Well, that's the other, one usually one video game is not enough. You usually need more. It's like potato chips. So
Hmm.
we'll get you hooked on The Last of Us as well.
Right.
I've never been I've owned PlayStations. I own a PlayStation. I just prefer the Xbox, and so that's usually where my home is. But there are still exclusive games on either or. So the other game that I play on PlayStation is God of War, which is just they're totally different kinds of games, and then you know, but we can set that up. You can play that. Um, I don't know. I kind of have a bone to pick because you went to see a movie that I want to see.
Listen, I can't control all the things. I mean, I didn't even know what it was about. Yes, I did. That's a
Yeah, I
lie.
was
I
gonna
knew what it was
say you
about.
can't pull that
And
off.
I knew that you wanted to see it, and it was
Yeah,
called
Thunder.
Thunderbolt.
You kept saying Thundercats. I'm like, what are you talking
What
about?
is it called? Thunderbolt, right?
It's called Thunderbolts. Yes.
Yeah, with the asterisk.
Yes, because it's
The
technically
new
now the new
Avengers.
Avengers. Yeah.
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 So I did a nerdy thing and I took
Hmm.
my kids to see Thunderbolt and through the whole thing I just kept thinking, dang, Leah's gonna be mad. Which I you weren't gonna be
No.
really mad.
No.
But it was really good. And
Yeah.
I would like for you to see it.
Well, we're gonna see it.
Yeah, we will. I'll take you to see it to make up for going without you.
Yes. What do you think made it good? What was the
So what I really liked about this movie though is like it was exciting. There was a lot of adventure. Obviously, it's a
hmm
Marvel movie
hmm
and but then there was like some like lightheartedness kind of
There,
mingled into it, which I really enjoyed. And uh Julia Louis-Dreyfus, she was in it and
yep.
did really, really well. I loved her character, Valentina. I don't know. It was just like this really great cast that came together that I would never have chosen to go to this movie outside of my kids wanting to see it.
Yeah.
I don't even know that they wanted to see it. It was just a hard day and I needed to get out of the house.
Sure.
But now it's Dario's favorite movie, he claims. So,
That's awesome. Yeah.
hmm.
And I'm not as big of a Marvel nerd, and when I had the podcast with my friend, they were the Marvel nerd and I was the DC nerd. So I know a little bit, and obviously I've seen the movies, but I'm not as hardcore. But you know, the premise of that one is the Avengers have all died, or
Died?
they're in a different universe. There's a parallel universe thing going on, and
Oh.
everybody's that's still alive, like the Hulk and Captain America and those that Iron Man is gone. Again, this is not I'm not spoiling anything that if you've watched any of
Mm.
those movies, um, but so that's why there's the new Avengers because they're taking on the things are still happening in the world and they still need heroes and that's them.
Yeah.
Um,
I see. This is how much of a nerd I am not. So, if we could rewind a moment,
yeah.
there is Marvel,
hmm
and then there is what?
DC.
DC?
hmm
Okay, so Marvel, this was not Marvel,
This was Marvel. This is a Marvel movie. Yes.
and then DC is what? Like
Superman.
Superman?
Yep.
Superman and what else?
Um, Birds of Prey.
What? Birds of Prey? That's a person?
So Harley Quinn
Oh.
is in Birds of Prey.
No, I mean like people. So it's
Oh, oh, oh,
Superman,
oh, Superman, Batman, Spider-Man.
Batman,
Oh, wait a
Spider-Man,
minute.
Supergirl.
Yeah, Supergirl. Um, I think Spider-Man is Marvel because I think he's
Flash.
Flash is DC.
Oh, DC.
hmm
Okay, so these are all
so
things that I need to learn.
yeah, so and then Thor and uh, Iron Man and the Black Widow and all those, that's Marvel. So
Mm,
it's basically just the comic
mm,
books, because all of this is based on comic books.
hmm.
There's none of this that's not come from a comic book somewhere.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then
Well,
you got your whole branch of Star Wars, Star
but we're not
Trek.
going to talk about that right now because then it'll get too confusing. I can't
Okay.
do all of it all in
All right,
once.
we won't overwhelm you with
Thank you.
nerdness. Yeah, that's
Thank
fine.
you.
That's fine.
So now I get to choose what either a reality show or a documentary for you
Yeah,
to watch,
you have
right?
to get me on something.
Okay. I think
Yep.
the Queer Ultimatum is coming up. That might
It
be
is.
that might
Yeah.
be the one for us on
Yeah.
my side of things.
Okay.
We'll see.
Yep.
Otherwise, I've been watching a handful of documentaries that you have not seen either, like
Yeah.
The Quilters. There's been some really traumatic documentaries that I've watched that I really kind of want
Sure.
to stay away from for the
Yeah.
for the podcast.
Yeah, try not to traumatize me because I am a little bit
Okay.
of a lightweight on that
Yeah,
stuff.
you are.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
And
We'll stick with the
I think
the
on my
lighthearted things.
side, we're gonna Casey hasn't seen The Old Guard, and we just found out that we are getting The Old Guard too. So I want you to see The Old Guard and
Hmm.
with Charlize Theron. And I mean, it does have sci-fi in it, but she's a badass in this one, so
Okay.
it won't taste too bad.
Okay.
So I think
I'm
that's what
down.
we're gonna try for next pod.
Okay. That sounds good.
Yeah,
Anything else to add?
I think we covered most of it. Like I said, we're this is our first one, so we're kind of feeling our way through, and you know how that goes, and we'll get into a rhythm and but we definitely want to hear from folks. We know we have a set of friends that just made a big announcement, and I was there when they met because of Winona Earp, and we can tell that story at some point too. But
Maybe.
yeah. Well, the part where they met and how we met,
Okay.
how we all met,
Okay.
and maybe yeah, we have some folks on, let's see how that goes.
Yeah.
So
Do we have like a Twitter or anything?
we do. We have a Twitter. It's
Do
a good
we?
thing. It's a good thing you're here. I mean, because I would have forgot all that stuff.
I don't
Um,
even know what it is.
so it's the name is too long, so I had to shorten it. So we are FFTF Pod. So from fandom to forever at FFTF Pod on the
Okay.
Twitter. I haven't ventured out into the other socials yet because it's a lot. But like I said, we're the goal is to put these on YouTube as well. So we got showered and everything, so we look pretty.
Yeah.
Uh, so you can kind of watch us too. And did you want to flash the cans up there so folks? Well, not
Oh,
that.
I was like, flash the
No.
cans.
I told you that's not this.
What? That's not this
Flash your
kind. So
cans.
we have
Yeah.
Pringles. The oops.
Turn it. Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
There you go.
Miller Lite, very
Yeah.
Milwaukee, very
So
Wisconsin. So
so that
these were the
snackies.
chips. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Maybe they
yeah,
would be good with a cheese dip.
yeah, there you go. That would be good with cheese, or at least cheese. Everything it has cheese on it here, by
Yeah,
the
that's
way.
true. Hmm.
You you want eggs, it's cheese.
Yeah, of
I
course it
forget
is.
there, and then there's something called a cheese curd, which I'd never encountered before, and apparently it's the curd of the cheese when they make it, and then you fry it, and it's very gummy. It's very rubbery.
No, you just haven't you gave up too quickly. We haven't found the best cheese curd. And by
Okay.
the way, you're talking about all these Wisconsin things that we do.
Yeah.
At least we have things.
Whoa.
Ohio,
Okay, well,
got
you
nothing.
spent, listen,
Nothing.
dear, you spent what, 4 weeks in Ohio and not even the same consecutive 4 weeks. So I didn't even get to expose you.
Okay, but at least, okay, this is what I'm saying. Wisconsin, you think, oh, what does Wisconsin have?
Hmm.
Cheese,
Hmm.
beer, brats,
Cold weather.
um, whatever. Summerfest, like we have all of these things. And then you say, Ohio, what
Yeah.
comes to mind?
Buckeyes, warm weather,
That is not,
and
no,
good hamburgers.
false, false, false.
You don't even
Buckeyes are the
know.
only thing. And I only know about that because you bought me some.
Yeah, I bought you some. Sent you some Buckeyes.
Oh, God.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Anyway,
Was
but
that our
like I said,
first fight?
it was. Just quick makeup too.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Good recovery.
Good. But yeah, we'll have a website. We'll put all the information in the show notes. We hope to be on all of the podcast venues. So you can find us there on Apple and Spotify and all the good places. So our email is from fandom to forever at yahoo.com.
All right then.
All right. Well, that's our
Well,
first one in the can. Um, Thank you all for listening, and hope you enjoyed. Let us know. Give us a I don't know. I don't know what you want to do.
we hope you enjoyed the show and burr, burr. We'll hope to all three of you who are listening,
Yes.
which we paid money for you to listen and see how it sounded. Thank you for listening. We'll give you your $2 later.
$2.
And a can of open Pringles.
All right.
Okay, goodbye.